Product placement. Buy that swag. Let's go. I'm going to send. Yes. Welcome to another edition of Masters Check-In, where we have a moment to hang out with some of our faculty and staff. And today, or tonight, depending on when you're watching this, we have the privilege of hanging out with a couple of our soon-to-be graduates from College Seminary, our fourth-year students. Some of you would know them as seniors, depending on where you're watching this. We call them fourth years, those who are in their last year of school, who have just completed their internship, where they spend 4 months working and serving in churches or nonprofit organizations before finishing off their scholastic experience at our school. And so what we're going to do is for the next few moments, we're just going to talk with them and learn a little bit about what their experience has been like, things that they learned, things that they've taken from that experience, and what they hope to then use to translate into their ministry or vocational lives. At some point, we are going to be able to invite you to walk the line, as we would say, and get your diploma, get your certificate, and you guys will be graduates of Masters College and Seminary. The plan was that was going to be at the end of April, but in light of the world that we're living in now, that's not the case. It'll be happening in the fall. That being said, there are now the next steps for all of you. We don't know what is next in terms of our world, but we do know that the Lord orders our steps. We can agree on that. So in light of that statement, what's something that you've taken from internship that you are excited to take into the next phase of your life, which is vocational ministry or working in a nonprofit or serving a church somewhere? What's something that you've taken and you're like, I want to continue to do this, or I want to start doing this? So Gavin, what about you? Unless Gavin already left. Oh, Gavin's there. Gavin's there.
I'm still here. I think one of the really exceptional things about this internship was actually that I worked in the church, but because we didn't have a building, I wasn't there that often. And so being at the mission and being around people who aren't Christians often really helped keep my heart soft towards those who are far from Christ. And so I think, this is kind of not exactly related, but just going forward into ministry, I think something that I always want to do is make sure that I have friends who aren't Christian, and just that I keep in touch with those who are far from Christ and make every effort to just love them and know them and see the things that they're going through, because we can become so distanced from them. And I even found myself after all my closest friends being Christians, coming here and then speaking to people at the mission and just realizing how hardened my heart has become at times. And even in my preaching, the way I preach is sometimes in a way that nobody who just walked in would understand. So it's like all of these things, and even discipleship. I'm used to discipling Christians, but when it comes to discipling people who aren't yet Christians, it's a completely different story. And so I think all of that is really going to impact my future ministry and the way I reach people in the future. And I never want to get to the point where my heart is hardened in that way again. That makes sense. Yeah.
No, it does make sense. It makes complete sense. Really good. Cheyenne, my friend, what about you?
I'd say the biggest thing that I desire to take with me is using my gifts to minister to people. I didn't realize how, usually when you think church, it's more so like someone speaking, saying a sermon and whatnot. But the leaders were really big, the staff were really big on pouring into me and pulling me in the direction where I'd use my gifts to minister to people. And so I'd say the biggest thing I want to take with me is being very intentional about doing that, not kind of pushing it to the side, but allowing that to speak as well. Yeah.
It's good. Caitlin, my friend, you are currently still on staff at the church where you did an internship, but in this last 4 months, internship is different than just working at a church. So, what's something in light of this experience that you're going to be taking into the next 3 or 4 months of working out there in Peterborough?
One of the biggest things that I'm going to take from my internship is to not be afraid of going outside your comfort zone. Because during my internship, I was pushed to do, like, even though that I am the children's director, Pastor Scott, he pushed me to do young adult ministry, youth ministry, 50 plus ministry, stuff like that. So I had a very broad experience, but I loved every minute of it because I learned how to engage and to minister to every generation, which was really, really cool.
Celeste, my friend, what about you?
I'd say one of the biggest things I'm going to take is the importance of the church and community. And I think it was really unique to learn that in Montreal, because even just that city, like, there's so much resistance to the church in general. And so one of my first weeks there, they were just talking to me about, we started asking ourselves the question, like, would the community miss us if the church left? Like, if we just left, would anybody notice? And so just the different ministries that they have partnered with the community, and with, like, even Cabot Square, like, that's right across the street, the things that they do there. And there's so many different people who rent out their building and partnerships that they have with people in the city, where it's like, actually, yes, people would really notice if Evangel was gone. That was just really cool to see, and something that I'm like, wow, anywhere that I go or any church that I'm a part of, like, I would want to see the church being a part of the community to the point where they would be missed.
Yeah. Erica, what about you?
Right. So I always had a passion for songwriting, and it kind of had dwindled down with school. I didn't have a lot of extra time, and I went to GKM without realizing that there is a huge songwriting culture there. And I got to be a part of that. And it kind of just reignited that passion and that love that I have. And it's just been pushing me to writing truth, writing with the transformational words of Jesus. And yeah, that's what I'm taking with me.
That's awesome. Jeremy, my friend, you got the last word.
What am I taking home with me? I think there's a few things. First off, I think empowering others, being a leader who is generous with their time, with their resources, and trusting others and empowering them. As well as, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying, everybody always, but there's a book, and it talks about the people who we miss, who fall through the cracks, who maybe aren't like us or aren't, don't fit the style of our culture or whatever it might be, who are different, right? And who sometimes don't fit in the best. And so something I'll take with me is everybody always, that we're called to love everybody always, doesn't matter who it is. And we're to be not just listeners of the word, but doers. We're to serve, to love every single person, not just the people who it's comfortable to love and to serve, but everybody always.
That's awesome.
I said it before we recorded, and I'll say it again. I'm proud of each of you, and I've had the privilege of being able to watch you walk into the school as first year students, as a collective, as a class, and the six of you represent an entire graduating class who's going to be preparing to walk the line in the fall. And even if the world hadn't turned upside down a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, depending on when you're watching this, or a couple of years ago, depending on when you're watching this, you all still would have ended so well and have carried yourselves with such class and made the directors of your majors proud, the faculty and staff of our school proud, your supervising churches proud, and you're each other proud. And so let me be one to say on record how proud we are of you for the work that you've done and for the work that you're going to continue to do, because your stories don't end with internship. This is just one chapter of many chapters of your lives that are going to impact many, many, many people. And so thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. for being willing to sit with me and to hang out and to share your stories with me and to share your stories with each other. I know you're going to have more opportunities to do that with some different events are going to be coming up as a graduating fourth year class, both scholastically and just in hanging out. And so enjoy these next few weeks together in your houses as we all as we all as we all are kind of doing the same thing, and know that you are very, very, very much loved by your master's family. And if you're a pastor and you're thinking about, oh, maybe we should think about an internship, well, contact the school and learn a little bit about it. We actually have a podcast called MCS Spotlight, and there is an episode specifically on so you want to have an intern, and you can learn a little bit about our internship program and what that means for our fourth years and for our BRE students and things like that. So make sure to do that. I've rambled on enough, and I keep on looking at the door behind me that is not hung up on anything. That is just, I had to meet in my basement. It's just how it worked tonight. So thanks so much for hanging out. This has been another episode of Master's Check-In. We will see you. I don't have a good sign out for this show, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching.